Most vehicle engines don't fail because they're old. They fail because owners follow maintenance habits that slowly destroy them over time. Modern service schedules are often designed to make cars appear low maintenance for marketing purposes, not necessarily to maximize engine longevity. That's why some vehicles struggle before 150,000 miles, while others easily cross 500,000 miles with the original engine still running strong. In this video, we're covering the maintenance habits that can dramatically extend your car's lifespan and help you avoid expensive breakdowns. Let's get started. 17. Change engine oil more frequently. One of the biggest mistakes drivers make is stretching oil changes too far. Many manufacturers now recommend intervals of 10,000 miles or even once per year, but that doesn't always match real-world driving conditions. If you regularly deal with traffic congestion, short-distance trips, extreme heat, or dusty environments, your oil deteriorates much faster than expected. As oil loses its protective properties, sludge starts forming and internal engine components begin wearing against each other. The damage happens gradually. Timing chains, camshafts, and variable valve timing systems often suffer the consequences years later. For long engine life, many experienced technicians recommend replacing oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, depending on driving conditions. Always install a quality oil filter during every service, preferably OEM or premium grade filters rather than cheap alternatives. Use the correct oil type for your vehicle. Synthetic oil for most newer engines. Conventional oil for older models if recommended. If the oil already appears excessively dark or contaminated, don't postpone the service. Fresh oil is one of the cheapest ways to protect an expensive engine. 16. Replace transmission fluid before problems begin. Transmission failure is one of the most expensive automotive repairs, yet many owners ignore the fluid entirely because they hear terms like lifetime fluid. In reality, transmission fluid experiences constant heat and friction. Over time, it collects microscopic metal particles and loses its ability to lubricate properly. Even if the fluid still looks acceptable, internal wear may already be accelerating. Once symptoms appear, delayed shifting, slipping, harsh gear engagement, or shuddering, internal damage may already be severe. A safer approach is performing a drain and fill service roughly every 60,000 miles. Some hybrid systems may last longer, but neglecting fluid entirely is risky. If the transmission has never been serviced and the mileage is extremely high, avoid aggressive flushing procedures. A simple drain and fill is usually safer. Most importantly, always use the exact fluid specification recommended for your vehicle. Using incorrect or generic fluid can eventually cause overheating, slipping, and premature wear. Trucks 15. Don't ignore coolant maintenance. Coolant doesn't simply get dirty. As it ages, it becomes chemically unstable and corrosive. Old coolant can damage water pumps, weaken seals, clog heater cores, and increase the risk of overheating. In severe cases, neglected coolant contributes to blown head gaskets and major engine damage. Warning signs may include sweet-smelling fumes, white exhaust smoke, constant coolant loss, rising engine temperatures. A coolant flush every 3 to 5 years can prevent many expensive repairs. Always use the correct coolant type specified by the manufacturer. Mixing incompatible coolant formulas can create sludge and reduce cooling efficiency. Maintaining a healthy cooling system is critical if you want your engine to survive long-term. 14. Replace the timing belt before it fails. Timing belts rarely give dramatic warnings before braking. Many fail suddenly. And when they do, the engine damage can be catastrophic. Heat, oil contamination, and age slowly weaken the belt material over time. Even low-mileage vehicles are vulnerable because rubber deteriorates with age. Many technicians recommend inspecting timing belts around 60,000 miles, especially on older engines. If replacement is needed, change the complete timing kit: timing belt, tensioner, idler pulleys, water pump. These components wear together, and replacing only the belt often leads to additional labor costs later. A failed timing belt can allow pistons and valves to collide internally, turning a simple maintenance item into a multi-thousand-dollar repair. 13. Use high-quality spark plugs. Spark plugs play a major role in engine efficiency and combustion quality. As plugs wear out, ignition becomes weaker. That leads to incomplete combustion, misfires, poor fuel economy, and eventually catalytic converter damage. Turbocharged and direct injection engines are especially sensitive because they generate higher temperatures and carbon buildup. Premium iridium spark plugs generally last longer and provide more reliable performance than cheaper alternatives. When inspecting spark plugs, pay attention to unusual deposits. Wet oil residue may indicate internal leaks. White crust buildup can point toward coolant contamination. Replacing spark plugs at proper intervals can improve performance, reduce fuel consumption, and protect expensive engine components. Desandor. 12. Replace the fuel filter on schedule. The fuel filter protects your engine by trapping dirt, rust particles, and debris before they reach the injectors. As the filter becomes restricted, fuel flow decreases, and the fuel pump works harder to compensate. Over time, this extra strain can shorten fuel pump life and reduce engine performance. Common symptoms of a clogged fuel filter include hesitation during acceleration, engine misfires, hard starting power loss under load. Most vehicles benefit from fuel filter replacement every 30,000 to 60,000 miles, especially in harsh environments or when lower quality fuel is frequently used. Choose reputable brands or OEM parts whenever possible to avoid contamination issues caused by low-quality materials. 11. Flush brake fluid. Every few years, brake fluid absorbs moisture from the atmosphere over time, even inside a sealed system. As water content increases, the fluid's boiling point drops significantly. Under heavy braking, overheated fluid can create vapor bubbles, leading to a soft brake pedal and reduced stopping power. This isn't only a safety concern, it also affects the long-term reliability of the braking system. Brake fluid should generally be replaced every 2 to 3 years. You can also use a brake fluid moisture tester to monitor contamination levels. If moisture content becomes excessive, it's time for a complete flush. Always use the exact brake fluid grade specified for your vehicle, whether it requires DOT3, DOT4, or DOT 5.1. 10. Service the differential and transfer case. Differentials and transfer cases are often forgotten because they usually operate quietly for years, until internal wear becomes severe. These components rely on gear oil to handle extreme pressure and heat. Over time, the lubricant breaks down and becomes contaminated with fine metal particles. Neglected gear oil can eventually damage bearings, gears, and internal seals. For vehicles used for towing, off-roading, or frequent all-wheel drive operation, fluid changes are especially important. A proper service typically includes warming the drivetrain, draining old gear oil, cleaning magnetic drain plugs, refilling with manufacturer-approved gear oil. Many experts recommend servicing these systems every 30,000 to 50,000 miles, depending on usage. Ignoring drivetrain maintenance may eventually result in expensive repairs that could have been prevented with relatively inexpensive fluid changes. 9. Replace the PCV valve before it causes bigger problems. One of the smallest and most overlooked engine components is the PCV valve, but ignoring it can create serious internal damage over time. The PCV system regulates pressure inside the engine. When the valve becomes clogged or stops functioning properly, pressure builds inside the crankcase. That extra pressure forces oil past seals and gaskets, leading to leaks, excessive oil consumption, and eventually major engine repairs. Many drivers notice they're constantly adding oil, but never realize the real cause is a failing PCV valve. Common warning signs include rough idle, oil burning, smoke from the exhaust, increased oil usage, sludge buildup. The good news is that replacing the valve is usually inexpensive and straightforward. In many vehicles, it's located near the valve cover and can be swapped within minutes. Inspect it around 30,000 to 50,000 miles, and always check the attached hose for cracks or blockage while you're there. A low-cost preventive replacement today can help avoid expensive gasket failures later.
8. Clean the mass airflow sensor. If your engine suddenly feels sluggish, fuel economy drops, or idle quality becomes rough, the mass airflow sensor may simply be dirty rather than defective. The MAF sensor measures incoming air and helps the engine computer calculate the proper fuel mixture. Over time, dust, oil residue, and contaminants can coat the sensor elements, causing inaccurate readings. That imbalance affects combustion efficiency and overall performance. Typical symptoms include hesitation during acceleration, rough idle, poor fuel mileage, hard starting. Check engine codes related to airflow. Before replacing the sensor, try cleaning it carefully. Disconnect the sensor, remove it from the intake tube, and spray it only with dedicated MAF sensor cleaner. Never touch the sensitive wires directly, and avoid using generic cleaners that could damage the sensor. Allow it to dry completely before reinstalling. Cleaning the sensor every 12,000 to 15,000 miles can restore smoother operation, sharper throttle response, and improved efficiency. 7. Check wheel alignment regularly. Poor wheel alignment doesn't just wear out tires, it also places extra stress on suspension and steering components. Many drivers wait until the vehicle noticeably pulls to one side, but by then, uneven tire wear may already be severe. Potholes, rough roads, curb impacts, and worn suspension parts can gradually throw alignment out of specification. Watch for these warning signs: steering wheel not centered, vehicle drifting left or right, uneven tire wear, reduced fuel economy. Checking alignment during tire rotations or routine maintenance is a smart habit, especially if you drive on damaged roads frequently. Proper alignment improves tire life, steering precision, and overall driving stability while reducing unnecessary suspension wear. 6. Avoid high RPMs on a cold engine. Revving a cold engine aggressively is one of the quickest ways to accelerate internal wear. When the engine first starts, oil is still thick and hasn't fully circulated through critical components. High RPM operation during this period increases friction between moving metal surfaces. Turbocharged engines are especially vulnerable because turbochargers rely heavily on proper oil flow for lubrication and cooling. Instead of revving immediately after startup, start the engine. Allow oil pressure to stabilize briefly. Drive gently for the first few minutes. Keep RPMs moderate until the engine begins reaching operating temperature. This simple habit reduces wear on bearings, pistons, timing components, and turbo systems. 5. Reduce excessive idling. Long periods of idling may seem harmless, but they create unnecessary stress on the engine. At idle speed, oil pressure is lower and combustion is less efficient. Fuel may not burn completely, increasing carbon buildup inside the intake system and combustion chambers. Direct injection engines are particularly prone to carbon accumulation over time. Excessive idling can contribute to carbon deposits, fuel dilution in engine oil, increased engine wear, Reduced long-term efficiency. During cold weather, avoid leaving the vehicle idling for extended warm-ups. Modern engines warm up more effectively when driven gently. After startup, allow the engine a short moment to stabilize, then begin driving smoothly instead of letting it sit for long periods. 4. Wash the undercarriage frequently. Rust is one of the biggest hidden threats to long-term vehicle survival. Road salt, coastal air, mud, and moisture can slowly corrode important structural and mechanical components underneath the vehicle. Areas commonly affected include brake lines, fuel lines, suspension mounts, subframes, frame rails. Even vehicles that look spotless on the exterior may be severely corroded underneath. If you live in snowy regions or near the ocean, rinse the undercarriage regularly, especially during winter months. A proper underbody wash removes corrosive buildup before it has time to damage critical components. Preventing rust early is far easier and cheaper than repairing structural corrosion later. 3. Keep battery terminals clean. Electrical problems are often caused by something surprisingly simple: battery terminal corrosion. White, green, or bluish buildup around the terminals restricts electrical flow, forcing the charging system to work harder and sometimes causing starting issues or sensor malfunctions. Inspect the battery periodically for corrosion buildup, loose connections, rust around clamps, damaged cables. Cleaning the terminals is easy. 1. Disconnect the battery safely. 2. Use a mixture of baking soda and warm water. 3. Scrub gently with a brush. 4. Dry thoroughly. 5. Apply dielectric grease or protective coating. Maintaining clean electrical connections helps ensure reliable starts and stable voltage throughout the vehicle. 2. Pay attention to unusual noises. Strange sounds are often the earliest warning signs of mechanical trouble. Ignoring noises usually allows minor issues to become expensive repairs later. Examples include brake squealing, clicking during turns, suspension clunks, engine ticking or knocking, grinding noises. Every sound tells a story about wear, looseness, or failing components. Catching problems early can dramatically reduce repair costs and prevent secondary damage. Occasionally, driving without music or distractions helps you notice developing issues before they become serious. A properly maintained vehicle should operate smoothly and quietly. 1. Keep detailed maintenance records. One of the smartest habits for long-term vehicle ownership is tracking every repair and service. Most people eventually forget when fluids were changed, filters replaced, or maintenance intervals were completed. Keeping a maintenance log helps you stay ahead of scheduled services, identify recurring issues, improve resale value, document warranty-related repairs, prevent skipped maintenance. You can use a notebook, spreadsheet, smartphone app, digital maintenance tracker. Record oil changes, brake work, fluid services, tire rotations, battery replacements, and any unusual repairs. Consistent documentation makes it easier to spot patterns and catch small problems before they turn into major expenses. A vehicle that reaches extremely high mileage usually isn't just lucky, it's carefully maintained. Take care of the small details consistently, and your car can stay reliable for many years far beyond the average lifespan. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon for more content. We upload helpful car tips, maintenance advice, and automotive updates